Hi, and welcome to Moose Jaw This Week. I'm Lyle Johnson, your host, and today we're down at the Moose Jaw Cultural Center in the lovely gallery that's here with a nice display of Hope on a String, and it's a really nice piece. But we are here because it's the site of an upcoming event which has really raised some prominence in Moose Jaw in the last little while, and that's gaming, electronic gaming. And I have with me Kristian, who's the public relations coordinator for the Moose Jaw Gaming Association, and Kristian's going to tell us all about GameX. Welcome.
Thanks, Lyle. Thanks for coming. And we are about electronic gaming, but that's just one aspect.
Boards too?
We do board games. We do card games. There's role-playing games like Dungeons and Dragons that we do. Pretty much any aspect of gaming. We've even had guys play hacky sack. Any aspect of games and gaming, whether it's, like I say, from video games to console games, it's all here, and it's all for an entire weekend.
A little bit of history about yourself. I wasn't aware when you were a student of mine at Peacock that you were into gaming, but because you were into musicals and you did theater, you did improv, all things that would work well with gaming. How did that happen? How did it come to be, though, for you?
Well, I think a lot of it actually came to be because of you and Allison Litt, and your acceptance of drama nerds and music nerds, and that culture that you guys built at Peacock, and it being acceptable to be a nerd. And you grew that for all of us. And with that, I found Alan and Adrian Box. You remember them? Yeah. We used to play Dungeons and Dragons and stuff in his parents' basement. Like, it was in the 90s. It was secret, right? But in the last decade or two, with shows like Big Bang Theory, making nerd culture so much more acceptable and more mainstream, we've been able to really bring those people and ourselves out of the basements and into the limelight to do good for our communities and for our society.
Yeah, and because you charge a fee for guys to do things, but there is a social aspect where you support different activities, and you make a specific event generating funds for, this year, what is it?
This year we're doing the Moose Jaw and District Food Bank. We're helping them launch a new program called Mighty Munchies. And what it does is it gives people the opportunity to, as usual, come down and get their hampers. But if they have school-age kids, typically in those hampers there aren't any snack foods or treats for the kids to get. So they still, if they're going to school, they get left out. Well, with the Mighty Munchie programs, what they do is if they have school-age kids is they get this little bag of treats, be it goldfish and granola bars and, those kind of in-between meal things that kids need, because, if you're not fueling their mind, or if you're not fueling their belly, they can't fuel their mind. Yep. So
for sure.
And once we're done the end of this winter GAX here, we'll be donating all of our funds that we've raised over the 2019 to the Mighty Munchie program.
And you guys are really successful financially. Things that you do, what kind of funding do you expect to put forward this year, do you think?
Typically, we've been doing $1,000, $2,000 donations. Last year, we facilitated $3,000 with the SaskTel Pioneers. They matched our donation to the school districts for literacy. This year, we're hoping to at least make that, if not more, for the food bank. But we won't know until the end of the event because it's attendance-based. And if we don't get the attendance, if it's like today and minus 40, it's going to be tough to
Wherever we want to be inside playing games. So.
They will, but we lose a lot of the Regina and Saskatoon people because they just don't want to hit. Oh yeah, we've had people from Winnipeg, Calgary. We had a group from Montana drive up last year. It's getting really big, and we're hoping it gets bigger and better every year.
And you use the May Wilson facilities, so there's different places that you set up in, I would imagine.
There is. The Moose Jaw Cultural Center here has been a crucial in us growing larger. They've got half a dozen conference rooms that we're using. We're using the foyers. Every square inch of this theater we have rented out, other than the theater, but that is hopefully coming in the future for some things. But even in the basement, all the rehearsal halls, there's 4 rehearsal halls. The green rooms for stage, like those are going to be our volunteer rooms. We've pretty much got every single room in this building rented out for our event, and we're hoping to fill them.
How many people do you expect to have in past history?
Well, summer we had nearly 150, and that's been our biggest one ever, almost double what we've had prior. We're hoping with all the press and just the word of mouth between other nerds that we're hoping to double, maybe. 200, 250, 300 would be nice. We'd be definitely to capacity at 300, but we do have the space for that many people to show up, so that's what we're hoping for.
Yeah. So you mentioned games, and we've of course got some setups here. This everyone knows what a controller looks like, and then Cards Against Humanity. Now
That's our late night. That's our late night adult.
Late night?
Well, we typically do that one. There's a room that we kind of close off for late evenings after usually 7 or 8 o'clock, and then people can go in there and do Cards Against Humanity without having to. And people know that that's the room you don't go into if you.
It's just a party game for horrible people.
If you haven't played it, it is very interesting, and you will make a lot of new friends when you play it, because well yeah, I haven't seen anyone actually become enemies, because it ends up being just so goofy and dirty that you're just having a good time.
Okay.
And then like we've got the consoles, so like you said, the controllers, we've got a bunch of consoles coming from the Matrix in Regina. They are donating a bunch of consoles for us to use. So we'll have Xboxes and Nintendo Switches and all the latest consoles with all the latest games for everyone to try out. And that's all part of general admission.
Well, and admission, I saw it's like $30, is that right?
$20. $20. So not so bad for an entire weekend.
No.
$20 is your general admission. The only one that is $30 is if you are bringing your PC. So for the internet LAN area,
okay.
We call it, that is sponsored by MooseNet Computers here in town. They are typically, we need the little extra just to pay for the internet and the networking and the additional services that are required for that type of gaming. But there's 40 to 50 spots usually for people to bring their computers, and they're usually full as well. So.
And we haven't told anybody when it is. We've been telling about it, but
we haven't. It is coming up very soon here, February 7th, 8th, and 9th. And yeah, we have lots of stuff on that on our website, on mjga.ca. They can register there. They can see more details. We've got videos about past gaming expos.
How long does it last each day?
Friday we start at 3 p.m. and go till midnight. Saturday is 8 a.m. until midnight, and then Sunday is 8 a.m. until 5 p.m. Your general admission includes a pizza party on Saturday night. We have powdered drinks like iced tea and things like that all weekend that are also included in your general admission. So for $20 you get pizza, drinks, and gaming all weekend. That's not too bad.
And board games?
Board games, we have comic readers out of Regina. They're bringing down a whole library of games that people can just grab off the table and play. And there's a whole area set up for just them to play board games. It's fantastic. Plus, lastly, we've got our Dungeons and Dragons, which comes back to our theater nerdness, where you get to be another person. Yeah, you create your character.
I got to be a pygmy druid, I think.
Back in the day,
one character I had, yeah.
Yeah.
But I played it, I think, once or twice. But
well, you should come out and play again, Lyle. We have a family that comes out. They're 4 generations. 4 generations of kids. So there's a 20-year-old kid, his 39-year-old dad, his 60-some-year-old grandfather, and then the great-grandfather who's like 76 years old or something. And they sit and play D&D together.
That's great, yeah. And of course, There's Marvel, 5-minute Marvel. What is that?
That's another board game. One of the many board games that's actually from my collection that me and my little guy play all the time. But like that's just one game where you like again, it's 5 minutes. You can sit down, play it with a bunch of different people. You got 5 minutes. There's games that take 3-4 hours. You know, it just depends on what you feel like doing and how long you want to spend here. But you're welcome to come and go as you please.
So it takes place at the May Wilson Theater on February
7th, 8th, and 9th, yep. And it is going to be a fantastic weekend of fun. We put the fun back in fundraiser.
Okay. Yeah. That's good, Chris. And of course, people want to be here. Cost is only $20 it covers the whole 3 days of gaming and snacks and all kind of stuff. The money that's raised will go towards the Moose Jaw District Food Bank. It's just a great thing. And when I thought about shows I wanted to have on this year, you guys are one because it's such a neat thing that you do.
It is, and we're very specific. We're very unique in the way we've created it. It's not like any of the other nerd conventions where it's a lot about the vendors and them making money. We are all about the getting back to our roots of why we are nerds and what we do to be nerds and geeks and being proud of that heritage and playing the games that we love, that we grew up loving.
Yeah. Well, for an ex-Zast Express guy, you're doing really well.
Thanks,
and thanks to you and your group for doing this. So if you've got some time and you've got some interest, I know you'll have a good experience when you come down here to the May Wilson Theater in February. So thanks to Chris for being here, and thanks for watching. And we'll come right back with our next segment, so don't go away.